I love the way the Torah treats trees, the way that it tells us to treat trees, the way that it tells us to view them and to interact with them. One of the great examples is that when Israel goes to war, we're not allowed to level the trees. So if you siege a city, you're not allowed to level the trees around the city, which makes the siege rather difficult because you've just provided shelter for anyone coming and going from the city. So it really does limit us because it's telling us, look at the symbiotic relationship you have with the trees. They breathe out what you breathe in. What you breathe out, they breathe in. We need each other. We're so connected to each other. And the first time that we see it has to do with Rosh Hashanah. It has to do with Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, the creation of the world, which is what we believe occurs around the time of Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah is the creation of humanity. And after Adam and Eve are created, of course, we know the text that Adam is told that you're not allowed to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And Eve is then created on the same day. And on the same day, Eve eats from the tree and feeds Adam. And on the same day, out we go from the garden. So we were very efficient with time back then. We got it done fast. God tells us don't do it. We do it all on the same day we're created. And from that day evermore, this is the day humanity has to stand up and be judged. And it's clear how this connects back to Adam and Eve in the garden. What fascinates me and what has fascinated so many philosophers throughout the ages is, what is the knowledge of this tree? What is it that we're supposed to be avoiding? What is this knowledge of good and evil? And how did you not have a knowledge of good and evil previously for God to forbid you from eating from the tree? You had to know right and wrong. You had to know that I can't do it because God said don't do it. So what have I gained? And what I find most interesting is a comment in the Zohar, a comment in Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism that talks about it, that triggers thoughts in my mind, and it just opens up a whole new way of looking at things. The Zohar mentions, look at the name of the tree. And you look at it and you realize, oh yeah, this is the tree of knowledge, good and evil. I don't have another tree named like that. In fact, the closest thing I have is the tree of life, which the text talks about. But it doesn't say the tree of life and death. It says the tree of life. And it doesn't say of any other tree, oh, this is the tree of apples and, Macintosh and delicious. This is the tree of, it doesn't give us choices. It doesn't give us parameters. It doesn't give us dichotomies. It just gives us the name of a tree. But suddenly when it comes to the tree of knowledge, we're being told good and evil. So there is something unique about that tree that God is saying, stay away from that one. And the uniqueness of the tree is that it's not harmonized. It's not telling you this is the tree of gray realities. This is the tree of tough choices. This is the tree. It's telling you good, evil. It's split it into two, as if there's a line between good and evil, as if there's an instant understanding. This is good, this is evil. And we all know that's not the way the world works. We all know that every argument has its counter-argument. Every position will have not only its counter-position, but the gray area in between. And we always want the gray area. We always want to talk about compromising. We always want to talk about how do we reconcile our differences? We give you a little bit and we give you a little bit. And then you'll be denied a little bit and you'll be denied a little bit. Where did we get this idea of good and evil? It's me or it's you. And if I'm right and I'm good, then you're evil and now I must kill you. That's the concept that God is saying, stay away from it. Because that can't function in the world. And the moment you bring that into the world, death will enter the world. Meaning now you've renamed the other tree. Because the other tree was the tree of life. But now, because you're introducing this idea of dichotomies, you're introducing death. So now the tree of life is the tree of life and death. And the whole perspective on the world has changed because now it's not about harmony. It's not about compromise. It's not about symbiosis. Now it's about black and white. Now you've introduced this philosophy that says, wait a second, if I'm right, that means you're wrong. And everything we've seen in creation up to that moment negated that concept. In fact, when God creates light and names the light day, and then we're told, and then it's evening and it's nighttime. Where did evening come from? We had day and we had night. God said, I will name the light day, I will name the darkness night. Good, black and white, good and evil, life and death, dichotomies. But the text tells us, but that's never the way it worked. Because as soon as the light was done, the darkness began to blend with it. Evening. It turns it into night. And the same thing with dawn. The light begins to blend with the dark. Now we have dawn. Then we have day. So the text has told us everything in the world is about harmonizing two seeming opposites. They need to blend. They need to harmonize. The gray area is where I want you to be, says the Torah. I want you to understand that, and in fact, we have a text that tells us, and again a Zohar text, that the Torah presents two roads before us. One is ice, one is fire. They'll both kill you. So what are you supposed to do? You walk the middle path. You find the gray and you walk that path. That's contrary to the tree of knowledge, because the tree of knowledge told us, no, define which one is good and which one is evil and make a choice, not a blend, a choice. So when we look through the Zohar at these realities and we understand Rosh Hashanah coming up and a whole new year, God willing, of choices, we need to be asking ourselves, we have the knowledge, but do we understand what we have? And how can that help us make better choices?